Hi guys, it's Ouch110. How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. It's finally time to talk about the new Dodo from Zoologist. We have a new version. Now let me tell you, when Zoologist reformulate a fragrance, they don't just tweak it. They kind of go balls to the wall, completely change the formula, new perfumer, same animal, same vision a lot of the time, but usually it's very different. So I'll start by saying, if anyone tells you that this version of Dodo is like the other one, tell them to come and see me, because I'll have to have words with them. Oh, I'm so mean sometimes. This version is made by Yves Cassar. Now he is, from what I know, he's probably one of the most established perfumers that Victor has chosen to collaborate with. Not saying that the other perfumers aren't established, it's just that this guy works for IFF, so he works for a very big, giant flavor and perfume company. A lot of the time, the perfumers that make Zoologist fragrances are much smaller. They're usually much more indie. They have their own brand already. This guy is big. He's made big famous perfumes before. So the theme of Dodo is Mauritius. Mauritius is where dodos lived. It's about their diet, it's about their habitat. That's what Zoologist is all about. It's about the animal and where they live and the flora and fauna of that particular place. Dodo is a fougere, and it's described as a peculiar fougere, or at least it was when it was first launched, the first version of it. But when Zoologist put a style on their fragrance, for instance, Nightingale being a chypre, it's never going to be a typical one. There's always going to be an element of Zoologist weirdness or fun or something that makes you think, I haven't tried that before. So the note lists, the top notes are rosemary, bergamot, pink pepper, and petitgrain or petitgrain, which is the twigs and leaves of the orange tree. The heart notes are blackcurrant, pineapple, cardamom, and clary sage, and the base notes are cumin, basil, musk, tonka bean, oak moss, patchouli, oak, lavender, and geranium. There are a lot of notes in there that when you look at that pyramid, you say, ah, fougere. And I want to start by saying that this version of Dodo is very much a fougere style. It's much more typically a fougere or recognizable as a fougere, as opposed to the other Dodo, which was soft and kind of aquatic and tropical, fruity and musky. This one's way different, and I'll tell you how it smells. Let's spray him on. I've worn this a lot of times, and I'm gonna say about the opening, whoo. The opening of this, I think, is very challenging. It's one of the more challenging things that Zoologists have released of late. There is a different direction that the brand is taking recently. It's going down a soft musky kind of route with snowy owl, musk deer is quite gentle, and then along comes Dodo, and to me it's like back to when Zoologist first launched, and a lot of the fragrances were challenging. So it's one of the more challenging ones, one of the most, I would say, but only in the opening, so do not be dismayed. There's a couple of things here that contribute to the challenge of this perfume. Two things that could be considered danger zone notes, especially for me, and that are renowned in the perfume world for being challenging to wear. One of them is blackcurrant bud. The note list says that there is blackcurrant here. To me, it smells like blackcurrant bud. And blackcurrant bud is, if it's used in the right amount, you get this nice fruity greenery. When it's used in a big amount, like it is in this version of Dodo, you can tread into cat litter box territory. The other challenging note here is cumin, and both of these things really stand out in the opening. So cumin is known for being sweaty, a little bit dirty, and it's definitely a challenging note. When you come across it in fragrance, even if it's in a small amount, it adds a dirtiness to a perfume, like unwashed cumin. Putting that aside, you do have an abundance of these things in the opening. That's why I say the opening is very challenging. I have had a couple of negative comments. However, this has an explosive opening and then it has a calm ending. It's not all scary. So take those two things. You have this kind of cat smell, and then you have this unwashed human smell. Put that together with a big amount of tropical feeling. The other Dodo was tropical in a lychee sort of way, and this one lists pineapple, but for me, the combination of notes in here actually make it smell more like mango. To me, it's like a mango who could do with a bit of a wash. It's almost like Dodo did-a-doo-doo. It's definitely more masculine leaning than the other one. I'm trying not to compare, but for those of you that have smelled the other one, I'm trying to just emphasize that they don't smell the same at all. Yes, it's the same theme, but it's a very different fragrance altogether. This one is definitely more recognizable as a fougere. It's hugely aromatic, this one. I can really smell rosemary in the opening as well. So take a mango and cover it in herbs. It's got a spiky texture. The other one was way more fluttery, soft and musky. This one's much more aggressive and it's really strong in the opening too. Mango covered in herbs, and then it's a mango that could do with a little bit of a wash. It's like a homeless mango tramp, and that's why it's a challenge. It's kind of like a mango that needs to go to the barber shop and get himself a little bit cleaned up. That's what it is like to me. But then we come to a much calmer place. I will say that in terms of development and how much it changes, it doesn't change as much as some of the other zoologists. I always say that a lot of their fragrances are a journey, and you get multiple things, and you're taken here, you're taken there, and there's a development, and the dry down is very different from the opening. This one just gets altogether calmer, and I'm not saying that it gets softer, because it doesn't. The texture of the fragrance remains. It's still a scratchy, herbal, aromatic, tropical fruit smell with a little bit of skank going on, or a lot of skank in the opening at least. I do start to feel a little bit more patchouli in the dry down. It's dry here. It's altogether more manageable when it dries. A lot of the scary, challenging parts of the opening have disappeared, and now it's kind of dandy. It's a little bit gentlemanly. It actually feels a bit cleaner in the dry down. So don't be scared by the opening, because things do change, but not in a massive way. It just chills itself out a little bit. The Dodo has a little bit of a relaxation session. There is also something in here that I want to say leans a tiny bit medicinal and kind of astringent, but not in an unpleasant way. Those two words can have negative connotations, those two, but it's not unpleasant. I won't say that, but there is this sharp thing that really hits you when you wear it. It's just a world apart from the original, which I said was softer and fluttery. This one's way more shouty. It takes about an hour to calm down, and all of the, zoologist-y, weird and wacky parts of it are much more noticeable when it's in the air. When you smell it close up on your skin, it is a bit more wearable. So yeah, not a huge development, but just a little bit more tame in the dry down, I would say. The longevity on this one for me is medium as well. It has such a big projection in the beginning, and it does draw closer to the skin and feels a little bit cleaner, a little bit more manageable, and a lot woodier in the dry down, but still without a huge 180 like some of the zoologists do. It's probably about 7 hours, I would say, in terms of longevity, which is really good. Some of the other zoologists are way longer, some not so much. There's a big range for everyone that likes all different things. Anyway guys, I hope you like this review. Bit of a tricky one to describe. I've had to wear it so many times to figure this one out, almost as many times as Sloth, which really was a conundrum for me. But yeah, that's it. I'm Ouch 110, trying to make the world smell better, one video at a time. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.